So this is Kia's new Pro Ceed. A Ceed on the front, a shooting brake style coupe thing on the back. Very pretty. Shines a light on what Kia is going for, because this is very similar to the concept we've seen for Pro Ceed. They haven't really altered it too much. Also shines a light in the direction of what Kia is doing for the Irish market. 1.4 GDI petrol engine in the bonnet, putting out 140 horsepower, and only has one grade, GT grade. That's it. So basically the car you see in this video is the car you're going to see in your showrooms. No special crazy additions or anything. There's a couple of options in this one, of course. The range starts sub 30,000, about 28.5, give or take, not including delivery and all that sort of stuff. So it's actually kind of well priced. Competes, the Ceed itself, the hatchback standard one, competes directly with the Ford Focus, the Volkswagen Golf, the Hyundai, various cars. Everybody's got a standard hatchback car, but this one does add something a little bit different. Some really cool design touches on the outside. Absolutely love this pillarless window thing here in the back, little silver trim on it, just to make it look a little bit different. As always, this is part of the reviews we do here every single week, so if you're interested in that sort of thing, hit the subscribe button. If you're already a subscriber, you know what we're going to do inside, which is the review of the interior, which, well, there's usually letters about these things, so let's have a look around the inside. When I say there's letters about it, car companies have gotten rather annoyed with how, let's say, frank I am about the interior of cars. Anyway, starting off with storage, we've got a decent sized glove box over here with not one, but like 2 or even 3 manuals in it. There's a lot of manuals there, Kia. Yeah, you can sort that out. Anyway, the glove box staying with manuals. We've got 2 cup holders here in the centre. Got a little kind of a, I don't know what that's supposed to hold, but anyway, it's a kind of a long thing. You got electronic parking brake for that auto hold. 6-speed box will come to gearbox in a minute. There's some blank buttons down the side, 2 of them. I don't know what you're missing, but anyways, there you got turn off the stop start system and the parking sensors on and off. In front of that is actually the most useful cubby holes I've seen in cars in recent times. So you have a shelf at the top that is the wireless charging system for a wireless charging phone, but you just fit a standard phone up there, not wireless charge if it doesn't work for you. Down below that then you have another sort of a cubby hole pocket thing. It has a 12 volt 180 watt socket, an aux connector, a USB connector that connects the Apple CarPlay, and another USB connector beside that that's solely for power. Really like that. It's covered over like the 12 volt socket. That's a very clever idea. Really like that idea. That should be in all cars, that kind of line up there. Although I do appreciate 2 USB ports up the front, there's none down the back. Above that is, well, a sort of an old-fashioned air conditioning system. I've got 2 knobs. Knob over here that goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 0. And then over here you got hot and cold. And that's it. And then between the 2 of those, I've got some directional buttons that I can move it up and down, and an AC button. But nothing like auto or joules on climate control, nothing like that. It is air conditioning unit, and that's it. Straightforward, nothing else. Really simple, very clever. I approve. I actually like that, because I can go, 1, I'm too cold, I'll turn it hotter, and I want more air. It's very simple. You don't have to do eyes off the road. No, don't need to do that. There you go. You can do it now. I know exactly what I'm doing. It's so easy, people. Not a difficult stuff to do. Above that then we have our touch screen. Now this car is, because of the wireless control thing, they brought the keys back in a larger sense. It's a manual as well, so we're going to start it up. The ding is because the door is open. That'll stop in a second. There it goes, right, stopped, right. Now, so there is a drive safety thing, which appears on the screen here in front of me, so it's going to turn it down to 0. It is a touch screen, but I do actually have a volume control knob and a tuning knob on the far side, or a zoom knob for the maps and sat nav and stuff. There is sat nav built in. Map is there, nav is next to that. You can set it up as well. Media is there, radio is there. It's turned to radio at the moment. There is DAB radio on this, FM and AM. Be aware, in Ireland, DAB is worse than useless. Don't think of it as a negotiation tool. Really, it only gets you RTE stations. No one else, none of the local stations use DAB as far as I'm aware just yet, and probably never will, in fairness, because you're stuck. You're not going to get BBC or any of those external stations all over the place. So just stick with the FM. AM gets you some weird channels that are out there as well. But the touchscreen itself actually has plenty of home button. You got informations in here, all the menus for phones and quick guidance, positions. It has got Apple CarPlay. Android Auto is in it too. Just plug it in. It is basic plug and play. Very straightforward. The reason the car is so quiet is because it's powered by a 1.4 GDI, so gasoline direct injection engine, puts out 140 brake horsepower. And it's very quiet on the tick over, very little vibration in the car, no diesel dugga sound. Steering, love this steering wheel, love it. It's got a flat bottom on it, says GT line in the bottom. It's such a pleasant, touchy-feely experience touching the edge of this, very nice, like that. On the steering wheel I have volume controls, voice control for the radio, telephone controls, volume controls over here, and over here is my cruise control stuff. It's not active cruise control, but it is active lane keeping, so it'll push you into the lane the whole time, and it does a lot of warning about putting your hands back on the wheel even when your hands are on the wheel. On this side over here I can turn off that lane keeping system, traction control, up and down the brightness, normal sort of stuff. Lights and wipers and all are on this side. Then I have two mechanical rev counter and speedo, and then a little digital dash in the center of that. Very nice interior, plenty of storage and room and stuff to put things, and little door pockets, and there is plastic in the door pocket rather than somebody left a pin in the door pocket. There is plastic in the door pocket rather than carpet, so anything in there is going to scratch about a bit, but I can live with that. Now I will make a note that it is quite a dark interior. It is a dark black interior. There's nice curves to it, but it is a bit drab in here too, and without the use of a sunroof it's a bit dark. But we'll go to the back seat and we'll discuss the light possibilities as well. Seats, really well supported on the seats. There's good wings sticking out on both sides, so I have no problem with those at all. Very nice, and embroidered into it is GT line as well. It's all standard stuff. This is stuff that's going to be in your car in your local dealership, plus the 7-year warranty. Right, I think that's covered pretty much everything up the front here. We should be good at that. So let's head to the back seat. Better turn off the car. It plays a tune whenever you're getting in and getting out of the car. Not really annoying, only sometimes. And I actually do mean that little tune isn't that very annoying. Okay, so back seat. Plenty of room. I got a fist maybe between me and the seat in front of me, but I'm actually a little bit more relaxed in that seat today. It's probably back just a tiny bit too far, so there's actually plenty of room here in the back seat. I have one light above me here, which is a standard halogen one. You get two vents in the back here for either side, but there is only one on and off. So if that passenger doesn't want the air, nobody gets air. Anyway, got a small door pocket, or small seat pocket here, and a small door pocket for myself as well. One electric window switch on this side, and I have a center armrest as well with two cup holders in it, which is quite generous. No ski-through ski loader here on this thing. It's solid plastic. You can lower the seats here from here, so that one flips down here. It is 60/40, so this one's got the full width on it and that one's got the narrow side. Very easy. It is not locked down, so very easy to put it back up again, but it does swallow the seatbelt on that side, which drives me nuts. You have to pull the seatbelt out from behind the seat before you close that, otherwise the seatbelt goes in behind that. Just thought I'd mention that one. It's not terribly relevant. I do have 3 seatbelts across. I don't think comfortably wise, yeah, maybe it'd fit in here for a little bit. Alright, if bolt upright though, because the armrest is behind you. Overall I think it's very dark back here, but it's actually quite nice. These windows are tinted on both sides, but it's actually quite a nice pleasant place to sit. You won't be uncomfortable on a long journey back here. There is room to spread out and move about a little bit. It's quite comfy and cozy. Right, to the boot. It's got a pleasant rear end for sure though, hasn't it? I mean, look at that. Not a nice little rear end on the car. Anyway, boot space. Let's have a look. One click to open. You got a handle underneath here for closing it as well, so no fear of that. It is quite a big rectangular space, which I quite like. So it's easy to load boxes and things like straight without having to bend over or do anything. It just all fits in there very nicely. There is a tonneau cover, retractable, fits into 2 sort of slots here. If you don't secure that properly on both sides perfectly, you get this while you're driving along. Just thought I'd tell you that. Make sure they're secured on both sides. But it is easy to get rid of it. You can take this completely out and lower the back seats to make more space throughout the whole cabin if you want to. Not something I'm going to do right now, you don't need to. There is a giant hole, I mean, look at my hand going all the way down into that. There's a massive hole here for more shopping and things you want to put into the boot under a little flap. And then there's another flap right behind that puts more stuff into the boot, another little compartment back here. And if you're willing to, you can pull all the stuff out of the way and you can lift that up and get more compartments all the way along the car. It is an incredibly big boot, really big, really spacious, but clever. Not just a great big hole, it's got these little separator systems in it as well. Really like that. You can pull out and get more storage over here. There's so many different ways of storing it that I'm very surprised other people haven't done exactly what Kia is doing in this boot space. It is probably the cleverest boot I've seen in years. Best boot on the market today, and you can take that as a quote there, Kia. Right, let us go for a drive. So to drive the Kia Ceed, Pro Ceed feels exactly the same as a Ceed. Really, if you've ever driven a Kia before, you'll have driven what this feels like. Suspension is firm, just a little bit touch firmer than I would expect it, but it's quite nice because it's a long car, but you don't really feel the length. It feels like a sporty car to drive. Steering is just spot on good. Love that steering wheel, really, really good. Pliant car as it goes along the road. Cabin noise, I have to say, is a little on the high side, Kia, particularly on the motorway. And if you ever use Apple CarPlay, Siri, the numbskull that is Siri, on a hands-free kit, you will very quickly find how loud it is inside the car, because the car can't, or Siri can't hear you say a word. So it is dumb as a bag of hammers most of the time, Siri, but at the same time I do use it from time to time to send messages or to have messages read out to me, which is a very good thing when you're driving along. It's all hands free, it's all voice controlled, very safe on motorway situations, but usually Siri can't hear me, which is kind of weird. Seat position is spot on, exactly what I wanted it to be. It feels very comfortable. I can get a good relaxed position here as well. I have rake and reach on the steering wheel. Everything is as I would expect it to be. Interestingly, to see what Kia is doing right now when it comes to the engine lineup, of which there's only one engine in Ireland. It's a 1.4 GTI engine. Gasoline direct injection, 140 horsepower, which means they've slapped the turbo onto it somewhere, because you're not going to get 140 horsepower for 1.4 without supercharging or turbocharging it. So essentially what you're buying is a small turbocharged engine to drive around in your big car. Not a big issue, particularly because these cars tend to spend most of their life on town journeys, picking up, dropping off kids. That would be a Ceed, but this Pro Ceed would lend itself a little bit more to a bit of sporty look. It's hard to marry the whole thing up as to what it is, because it's not a Ceed SW, but it's not a Kia Ceed. It's a hatchback, but it's not a hatchback because it's much more sporty looking than that. And yet the handling is quite sporty as well, but you know, you're going to fit your family into this. So it's a very hard car to narrow down exactly what it is in the market. Through a roundabout, it is nice and flat. It is a simple car to drive. There's a joyfulness to the gearbox, I have to say. Just a little, you can just leave it in third. It'll be fine, because it's a 1.4 petrol. It'll keep on revving until there's no engine left. As petrol engines do, but you can literally just leave it there in third and cruise through all those roundabouts, and it's all very easy. And just blip up to fourth when it mood suits you. Use for day to day, it is very nice, because I have plenty of cubby holes, plenty of areas to put things inside the car. Nothing feels very cramped in here. There's a nice light airy feel to the whole cabin, if it is a bit dark and a little bit on the plasticky side. But does it compete well when it comes to something like a Ford Focus or a VW Golf? It's not quite in the same segment, so I have a much bigger boot in this than the competition. This is much closer to an estate car. You might find my voice is raising up a little bit here because the tyre noise has gotten quite loud around the back of the car because there is only a sort of a leatherette tonneau cover covering the car, so the boot does echo a little bit in here. Overall, for the money, you're getting quite a big lump of a car. It's going to comfortably seat 5 adults. You're going to put a ton of things into that boot. Such a clever boot space. Definitely 10 out of 10 on the boot space. If the cabin was a bit brighter, maybe a contrasting trim or something in here, it would feel a little bit more light and airy. If you got a white bottom half, maybe the black top half, it'd be lovely if that was an option, Kia. But there is only one car. This is the car you're going to see at your local Kia dealership in Ireland. Prices start a little bit over €28,000, which doesn't sound like, it sounds probably good, competitive sounding, but it's still, prices are still going up because of WLTP. We're not going to see the end of that for another while yet. It's a comparable car to anything else on the market, and in actual fact I think I might have this before I have a Ford Focus. Sorry Ford, I just think so. Golf's not new. Golf has a bit of catching up to do now. It's still one of my favourite cars in the segment, bar none, but it needs a refresh at this stage. It's starting to feel a little bit tired. It's getting refreshed along the way the whole time. It's not quite there yet. So I hope you've learned everything you need to know about the Kia Proceed and everything it's got to do. We'll have more of the Ceed and Kia range coming later on in the year. There are more cars to come out and more stuff to do, more races to run as well. I do run the Kia race series when I can. So hopefully you will join me on this channel for all those sort of things. Hit the subscribe button, click the bell icon, because every Sunday we go live with the Sunday service where you get to ask me 2 hours worth of questions, which now is stretched its way out to be nearly 2.5 hours worth of questions because so many of you come along and watch live. I'd love your support on the channel. It's absolutely brilliant. It's a great honour to be recognised in the street and stuff. It's absolutely fantastic. Hopefully you will continue to support the channel wherever you can. There are listed links down below for you for the financial support of the channel if you want to, but at the very least just click the subscribe button and the bell icon and give that a shot. So hopefully you've enjoyed it. Until the next time, I will see you on the far side.